Hey everyone, my name's Karen. I'm an astrologer, an art therapist, a tarot reader, and also not so good at recording YouTube videos. So full disclosure, I'm re-recording this intro and I'm going to edit an older video I did and stick it to the front of this because I was way too long-winded. So this is about Pluto in the second house in your birth chart and what that means for what area in your life is most important to look at for transformation and growth. Thanks for watching.
Pluto is also about self-mastery versus control. That's more a personal thing. But again, it's personal power. It's about the psychological shadow, repressed feelings, memories, stories. It's also, I'm sorry, let me just do this because there's a lot of noise out there. Hopefully that'll
be helpful. Okay, so it's about transformation and regeneration, and ultimately, to me, the archetype of Pluto is the phoenix rising from the ashes. You are willing to put your outmoded behaviors and your patterns and your shame and guilt and fear on the fire, so there's something new it can be destroyed and something new can be created. The domain of the second house, since we're talking about Pluto in the second, is all about value. How do I value myself? Do I feel I'm worthy of what I want or what I have in my life? And what is it that I value? Is it relationships? Is it money? Is it achievements? Is it public accolades? That kind of stuff. What are my values, my morals, my non-negotiables? What line am I not willing to cross? What am I willing to trade or give up for financial gain or security? Or very bluntly, the second house is the house of money, because what is my relationship with money? Money being such a huge loaded topic in our lives. What is ownership to me? How important are my possessions? And am I able to fully own my sensuality, my relationship with my body, my sensory enjoyment of the tangible world? And that's stuff like food and sex and luxury. But ultimately, the second house is about comfort. How comfortable am I in my skin? How comfortable am I with my peeps, in my house? That sort of thing. And as examples, so let me just say that all the people that I chose here come from a astrological database on astro.com, and I've chosen the ones where the birth time was confirmed. And I also want to say that none of these people, what I'm describing is a slice of their experience. This is not the defining trait of who they are. This is just an aspect of their personality. And I've also chosen people that are experiencing this Pluto in the second as a very public or more of an extreme or visible, actually, I should say, a visible rite of passage, rather than you or me who just live our little lives and get on with it. So these are extremes, but there's that flavoring. If you do have Pluto in the second house, is present. So Christopher Darden, if you are old enough to have seen the O.J. Simpson trial on TV, he was the African-American man who was part of the DA's office. He was a prosecutor, and he was basically, in terms of his values, he was very much attacked by the Black community, because here was a Black man who was in a court of law, under law that is supposed to be equal, but we all know is not, was prosecuting a fellow Black man. So he had to evaluate what that means for him. What are his morals, his values? What does he believe? And how much is he willing to go against what his tribe believes? And I say tribe not in a derogatory term. I think we're all tribes. There's a tribe of humanity. There's a tribe of Germans. I'm German. There's a tribe of astrologers, whatever. So but tribe being a very instinctual affair, this need to belong, this need to this primal sense of being safe in a group. Anyway, so what was he willing to give up for financial gain? Because that was part of it. I do know I looked at his bio very briefly. He grew up poor in, I think, Richmond in the East Bay area of San Francisco. I think he had some run-ins with the law. And so he's very well aware of, most likely, of what police injustice and brutality, what that means to be not treated fairly. And here he is prosecuting this man. I can't speak for what he went through. I would venture to guess that this was probably one of the most transformative periods of his life. Again, coming back to this archetypal fight, this archetypal tension he had his hands. If you know, actually by now, due to Black Lives Matter, I would hope you know, you've heard about the story of Emmett Till, which was a 14-year-old boy living in Chicago, visiting family in the South, and being in a white grocery store, smiling at a white woman, and then being, for supposedly making her feel uncomfortable, being lynched and tortured and killed and thrown into a river. And again, here is O.J. Simpson, a Black man who had the balls to marry a white woman, and who, guilty or not, I have no idea, was accused of killing that white woman. So there was all this history and this force and this collective baggage that he was going up again, and he had to work through that. I put down transformation and regeneration. I do hope he found his peace with it, no matter what it was. And like I said, it's must have been a very powerful time, as it was for all of us watching this. The next one I want to look at is Prince Andrew, Duke of York. And unless you've lived under a rock, you've heard about him and his connection with Jeffrey Epstein, the child molester, the guy who had a whole, again, system of set up for disgusting old men to sleep with young underage women and to force them to have sex with them and make it look like it's all kosher and good and it's all fun and games. And again, Pluto's question for him would be, what are your values? What's the line you won't cross? And how do you use your power? Apparently, from what again, this is just secondhand, I can't confirm for sure, but what I read is that he's very spoiled and very much feeling entitled because he has been born in this position of privilege. So using his power for good or ill is definitely an issue. And then his own psychological shadow. Why would he even do that? Because, I mean, it's interesting because AOC's speech just now in Congress about even if you're a man, if you have a wife or daughters, that doesn't make you a good man. Same thing here, it doesn't make you a good man. What I want to point out real quick is, and I wasn't going to go into anyone else's into any other details of this chart, but what I sort of popped out was, if you look here, he has Venus and Mars, the planet of male and female and interaction with male and female and sexual relationships between male and female. They're conjunct, partly probably because this might be part of the reason why he has been called, quote, Randy Andy. Oh, gross. And so in his birth chart, that's the setup, and it's in Capricorn. It's in 25 and 26 degrees Capricorn, respectively, I believe. And Pluto, moving Pluto, is right on top of that. So that's why this shit is coming out. And I believe if they manage to keep it under wraps and not make it very public, he will still suffer. He will still be called to account of what happened there. It could be that it's coming out publicly. I don't know, but there's definitely, this is a very, it's a probably the big challenge of his life as well. So again, Pluto bringing change and bringing the need to look at the skeletons in your closet. I have to stop saying that. Okay, let's go to something a little more positive. Emma Watson, she was the actress who played Hermione in Harry Potter. She was a child actor, and lots of times you can watch young kids who are being thrown into that kind of life and then don't come out really well and have struggling with what's right, what's wrong, what are the systems, the structures that are helping you to grow up and become a healthy human being. Well, she did really well, but she definitely had to look at what are her values, what is important to her, because if you're fanned over and adoration of millions of billion, I don't know, tons of people, and all this energy coming at you, she really had to develop a strong sort of energetic core of herself to be able to withstand that without being jaded by it. Especially her relationship with money, because clearly she was very wealthy when she was very young. And then the idea of self-mastery versus control. So she has definitely power because she has visibility and celebrity and status, and she uses it as for good. As a women's rights activist, she speaks up about issues that are important to her. And overall, I think she's someone who really integrated her second house Pluto in a positive way. And then lastly, Zoe Kravitz. She's also an actor, artist, model, and she's also in the public eye, and both her parents are very famous people. So the valuing part for her, I would imagine, came with, who am I independent of my parents? I am the daughter of X and Y, and who am I not standing in their shadow, especially since she also is a creative and she also went into that world of acting and as an artist. So she had to, I believe, or would assume, really look at who she is by herself without that reference point of the fame and the money and all that came with being the daughter of her parents. And I think she possibly might have been challenged with the question if she's worthy of all that's around her, because she probably had experiences where people were trying to get close to her because of who she was in reference to the parents and not who she was intrinsically as a human being. I hope it didn't happen very much, but I don't think it could be avoided. So she had to figure out what is it that she values and who does she trust with her inner being. What is her relationship with money? And then again, ultimately, the idea of self-mastery versus being controlled by these beliefs and these outside forces. And from what I can see, she's a very well-adjusted young woman. She is going her own way. She's successful in what she does. And again, I think a very good example of integrating your second house Pluto in a positive way. So if you have Pluto in the second house, the questions that really are pivotal for you to ask are, how do I value myself? And this actually goes back, if you're into the law of attraction, the whole idea of you have to be worthy, you have to believe that you deserve the stuff that's in your life or that you want, so it can actually energetically come to you. What do I value? What are my values? And what values do I hold that I need to examine, look at, and transform? And we can do so. Below is some information how you can get in touch with me. I look at birth charts, which is the stage of your life, the tools you've been given to work with. I look at transits, which is what growth cycle is happening for you right now. What is it that where you need to examine something in your behavior, in your patterns, in the way you conduct yourself in life. And I read tarot, which is a different set of symbols that is much more in the here and now. So I would use the tarot to clarify something in a chart, or I would use the tarot to answer questions about, do I take the job in Los Angeles or in Seattle? Or a question like, if I pursue a relationship with this person, what's the energy around that? What are the obstacles? What is the chances of this being positive for me? Or how do I deal with the bully at work or my boss that treats me like crap? Anyway, so that's tarot stuff. All of this you can see, you can book me on my website, which again, link is below. And also, wait, how does it go? Please like this video, please subscribe to my channel, please click the bell thing, so if I ever go live, you're being notified. And I think that's it. So just love me. That's basically it. Have an awesome day, everybody. Take care.